I love the story too of what made you decide to even consider coming to the United States, because you shared with me that at the time, connection with the West or even a knowledge of the West in
Yeah,
India was pretty limited. Can you
yeah,
talk about
yeah.
that?
Yeah, so I mean, it all started with, taking these GRE exams because I saw the books there and they were a whole different type of an exam compared to anything that I'd seen. And my cousin was trying to get to the US, 4 or 5 years ahead of me. And that kind of got my interest in this kind of exam. And then, I told you I grew up with the idea of the West through Newsweek and Time Magazine.
Hmm.
And, uh, and then I went to the U.S. consulate at one point and I started looking at the magazines about the different universities and things like that.
Why did you go
Yeah.
to the U.S. consulate to do that?
Because in those days there was no internet. It was the only information we could get was from brochures that the U.S. consulate had of all the universities in the U.S.
So you had to do real research to
Yeah,
find these
and
things
real
out.
reading, and it would take me probably an hour in the train to get to the consulate, and then
Wow.
we'd spend the morning there, or I figured it must have been weekends or something like that, or when I came back home during the breaks, because it was just in Bombay that the consulate was, and yeah, and we had a finite amount of money. I think I saved up my money to be able to take the test because my dad, we were a middle class family, and so the concept even of going overseas, let alone to the United States, was a non-option.
Yeah.
It was like a fantasy, and so I saved up my money. Again, this was not a whole conscious plan. I think it was more of, let me take this test. Let me see if I can get to the U.S. to go to school. And then the whole idea was, let me see the U.S. I'll go for 2 years and I'll see it. And
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
kind of, I think, the basics. I don't think I had any intention of it being more than that at that time. It was the only way I could come to the U.S. was if I could go to school here.